I'm super excited to introduce our final speaker of the night. So she has 3 very thoughtful fun facts that she provided to me. So our next speaker confidently speaks 4 languages, one of them being Swedish. Yet while honeymooning in Sweden, her confidence had her regularly speak to Swedes in their native tongue, mostly by speaking English with a Scandinavian accent and doing so in a louder voice. While on a holiday Jeep excursion in the Caribbean with one of her biggest agency clients, she decided after one too many rum punch that it would be a good idea to moon her client who was traveling in the Jeep behind her. And she is always up to earning a bit of extra cash by delivering on a dare. One time at the agency while working on a branding exercise for a barrel client, her husband dared her to climb into a barrel and ride with him down the elevator in their busy office building. What she didn't expect was that he would place the barrel in the middle of the elevator, push every floor button, and send her on her way, alone and unable to climb out of the barrel. Oh, no. That's her husband right there, by the way. So, awesome job. I am really excited to introduce our final speaker of the night, the amazing Toni Abramson, who is the co-founder of Yam Chops.
Yeah, that's a big thing to catch up after. Now you're expecting a whole stand-up comedy routine here or something. Well, I'm Toni, and sitting amongst you here tonight is my husband, Michael, who I've been married to for 40 years, and we've been business partners and have worked together for that long. I know, fuck up, right? It actually works for us. Michael's always been the creative, the visionary, and I've always managed business development and customer service. So for 27 years, we owned and operated a boutique advertising agency. And during about the last 8 years of running that company, Michael began to express this deep desire, in fact, this passion that he had to do something in plant-based foods. And to prove, because you have to prove things to me, and to prove just how serious he was, he went out and acquired a number of plant-based chef accreditations, including his Cordon Vert. Okay, so now we're selling the agency. Just for a fleeting moment, I had visions of what my retirement could look like. I pictured myself at yoga in the morning, namaste, lunch with the girls, shopping or mahjong in the afternoon. By the way, I have no idea what mahjong is. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. In March of 2014, we had completed the transition of our business, and in June of that year, along with our daughter Jess, we opened Yam Chops, North America's first plant-based butcher shop. Yeah. So Yam Chops was designed to offer center-of-the-plate proteins. First of all, they were healthy for you. They were meant to be delicious and texturally pleasing. We were good for the animals, good for the environment, all those great things. And we happened to be plant-based. Okay, so yeah, we wanted to appeal to vegans and vegetarians, but primarily we wanted to appeal to flexitarians. Those are all the people lining up for Beyond Meat burgers today at A&W, 95% of whom are still eating meat. And our counters were stocked with what you'd expect to see at your butcher shop. We had burgers and cutlets. We had steak and ribs. We had all kinds of yummy products that you could just take home and put on your grill if you wanted to. We also had a prepared counter that offered things like our famous Szechuan beef, tofu makhani, tunaless tuna. In fact, 40 items that we made fresh in our kitchens daily. To add to that, we had a lunch counter, and we had a small retail section with all plant-based goods. Okay, so where are we going to house this beast? Well, we looked at a number of different retail locations, and oh my God, they were exorbitantly priced. We nearly pooped our pants, if you can say that. Can I say that? Yeah, okay. And then we came across this location on College Street in the heart of Little Italy. Okay, so maybe it wasn't an A location, but it was pretty good. It had 1,500 square feet of great retail space. It had a lower level production kitchen that needed very little work, and a space that we could grow from to serve multiple locations. We were thinking really big back then. Okay, so we are compromising ever so slightly, we told ourselves. Well, after all, we were marketers. We'd make people come. Okay, fuck up. Location, location, location. The good news was that from the moment we opened our doors, the media descended on us in an unprecedented manner. Even as marketers, we couldn't have planned for this or anticipated this. We had full-page article in the Toronto Star, the Globe and Mail, Toronto Life, Condé Nast, Trent Hunter. We had Huffington Post. We were in the London Times. We were on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. Wow, it was crazy. We did television, we did radio. Influencers and bloggers were writing about us. And we were ever so grateful for all of that media attention. Now, Michael could cook. He had, in fact, developed all of the recipes, and a year later, he was approached by a publisher in the US and produced a cookbook. But at that particular time when we opened, he wasn't feeling particularly confident about running a production kitchen. So we hired a chef. Now, she turned out to be the female version of Gordon Ramsay. Yeah, Hell's Kitchen. We did that for 3 months. We let her go. Michael took over the kitchen, and I would tell you that was an expensive fuck-up. Okay, so we're 6 months in. We're looking at the numbers, and it's not good. We don't know what we're missing, what we're doing wrong. The food is great. People are coming, and they're coming back. Our service acumen is stellar. And the media is writing about us, great third-party endorsements. So what's missing? Well, a friend of ours came in who was in the food business and looked around and said, I think I got a little problem here. You guys are marking up your goods using a markup instead of working on a margin. And that equation is detrimental to your success. Yeah, that was a major fuck-up. And in that moment, we realized that what we were missing was operational know-how, operational skill sets relative to the food industry. We didn't know what we didn't know. And now 6 months into it, we didn't have the money to hire that skill set. So we had to learn as we went along. Okay, so now we're at about 8 months. And I would tell you that we have hit our lowest point. We're exhausted. Our kitchen opens at 7 in the morning. Our store closes at 7 at night. And I'm 57, and Michael is 59. The energy required for this business is not a match for who we are at this point in our lives. And to add to that, we have no time for family or friends. And we're about to have our first grandchild, and we want to be a part of that. It was hard. That's Kaya. So we had to keep putting one foot in front of the other. We knew we were onto something. At 9 months, we get a call from Dragon's Den. They want us to appear on the Den, and we have 2 weeks to prepare our spiel. Yeah, we're going to do it. This will put Yam Chops on a national platform. This is what we need to succeed. So we get our spiel together, and we get in front of the dragons, and I got to tell you, it was probably the most frightening thing I've ever done and the most exhilarating. But the dragons love our brand, they love our concept, and they love the food. And we do a deal with Jim Treleving from Boston Pizza for franchise growth. Wow. But he warns us. He says, guys, it's early days. You need a minimum of 2 years under your belt before you're ready to franchise. Let's see how it goes. Then we enter into a period of due diligence with his team. They teach us a tremendous amount, extremely generous. And we discover we're not ready to franchise. And so both parties extricate themselves from the deal. Okay, so now we wait. When is the episode going to air? Is the episode going to air? They actually don't tell you that. In the meantime, we got to do something. We've got to generate more revenue. So almost simultaneously, we launched 3 new business services. We add catering and start doing corporate and social catering. In fact, we do a couple of weddings. We add wholesale and start serving 25 retail customers and delivering to them 2 or 3 times a week. And we add e-commerce. Sure, you can order from us online and we'll ship across the country. We must have thought we were Amazon or something. Do you know that a package going to Vancouver that has $100 worth of goods in it is going to cost the customer $45 to ship? Yee, fuck up. Okay, that wasn't the big fuck up. The big fuck up was we were not fully understanding our operational hazards, and here we were spreading ourselves even thinner and going into 3 different business silos. Finally, we get word that the episode is going to air. It's February the 13th of 2016. You can actually look it up if you want to be really amused. And we rent the Review Theatre in Roncesvalles. We throw a party, invite all of our ambassadors to watch it with us. It was a great evening. And then we wake up the next morning and everything looks pretty much the same, except for one thing. The phone is ringing off the hook for franchise inquiries. And investors are calling to see if we've executed on the deal. Okay. Somewhere in that timeline, we strike a partnership with a group out of Vancouver that buys the lion's share of the company. They have franchises, they have food production, and they have operational know-how. Sigh of relief. Somebody's going to take us down the right path here. Somebody's going to help make Yam Chops the success we so want it to be. They wanted to capitalize immediately on the fallout from Dragon's Den, all these franchise inquiries. And so even before addressing the operational issues that we had, we started franchising. Fuckup. Okay. We do shows in Toronto and in Vancouver, and we actually sell about 7 franchise licenses. And a year later, when A locations are proving very difficult to find in cities like Toronto and Vancouver, many of those franchisees leave the fold. And now Vancouver wants to divest themselves of the company. And so they sell. And they sell the company to our 2 Toronto franchisees who come together as partners, have great skill sets between them, and have since opened a second location at the Stacked Market. So Yam Chops is a success, in spite of our fuck-ups. Hard to believe. And I would tell you that 5 years ago when we started this, we were at the precipice, at the forefront of something really big, this plant-based movement that has since exploded. I would also tell you that my belief is that Yam Chops was just a physical articulation of what was already in the global mindset. And I can tell you with certainty, it was the hardest thing we've ever done and the most rewarding. Now, retirement, let's just say I haven't taken up Mahjong. It seems that all these years in marketing and in food and in sales and service has us in demand. Michael's working on a number of great marketing initiatives and still doing some recipe development, which I can attest, I've definitely tried. I hang around for 40 years because the man can cook. I mean, come on. And I'm doing what I love and do best, and that's coaching in the art of great sales and service. Thanks for hearing our story.
Thank you for sharing that fantastic story. What a journey, what an amazing entrepreneur. I think you've seen it all, retail, e-commerce, and all the fuck-ups that could happen in between. So thank you again for sharing your story, and I'm sure you're going to get some great questions. So let's open it up to the audience.
Okay, no questions? Good, no problem.
How's it going? My name is Hardeep. My parents live in Germany and came to Canada and have a similar story. They're passionate about food and have a German restaurant in Scarborough around the same age as yourself. And as you mentioned, it's an extremely hard business to run. It's really, it takes a lot of energy. So my question for you is, if the Dragon's Den opportunity never came, the investors never came, what would be your strategy or your advice to kind of make it out of that hole and to make this come down the same journey you have and make your restaurant successful?
So we weren't a restaurant, and that was maybe part of the fuck-up. We were a butcher shop first and foremost. Like, we were the place you came to get your meat, basically, your plant-based meat. And we had a small lunch counter that people could grab and go and sit and have a bite with us. I think if I needed to do it again, I would have regrouped the model. I would have focused on one thing, not all of the things that we were involved in. We literally had like 5 or 6 different business silos within one roof, and that was hard to manage. So that's probably what we would have ended up doing if we had to regroup.
And the restaurant's called Little Bavarian in Scarborough.
Good plug there, buddy.
Hi, Toni. Thank you for sharing with us. Going back to your Dragon's Den experience, were there other offers that you got that in hindsight you regret not taking?
Um, there were some strange offers, most of which were really exclusively to the benefit of the person making the offer. Like there was one company that approached us, had a number of locations that weren't working out with the brand that was in there, and wanted us to move into those locations. They were a heavy meat company, I might add, like a burger joint. So it wasn't exactly a fit, and it was kind of, if it works, you'll get money. If it doesn't, you know. So no, I would say the best offer came from the group that we had in Vancouver, and we believed that they had the best skill sets to move us forward.
Thanks for all the emotions in that story. I have two questions. The first one is, why did you decide to close your agency and not do it simultaneously? And then the second one is, what were you able to apply from your agency to Yum Shops?
Well, we were small business operators. We'd always partnered together, my husband and I. I don't think we had the mentality that would allow us to run two businesses simultaneously. This was going to require a new muscle, a muscle that we didn't have, and so we really needed to invest in ourselves into it fully. And yeah, what did we apply? Well, we were marketers. The name, Yam Chops, it's a fucking great name. I mean, come on. The branding was great. The design of... Yeah, I mean, you would walk into our store, you could still walk into our store today, and the first question a lot of customers would ask us is, how many locations do you have? One, we have one location, but sure, if you like to think we have 7 or 8, great. We knew something about how to brand and how to position the store, and definitely how to design the experience. And we knew a lot about customer service, which was critical to the experience, the guest experience that we were having. We wanted people to be able to taste this weird stuff on the counter that looked like meat, but what did it taste like?
One quick question. Are you still doing e-commerce?
Yam Chops is still doing e-commerce, yes. We don't own the business anymore. It's been completely bought out, but yes, they use Shopify.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
We should know.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. My question to you is, like, how did you decide on like, okay, you said your husband had to convince you about the idea to switch to your business. So what is the measurements or I would say the criteria that you kind of say, okay, this is a great idea?
Well, it's a great question. Michael was vegetarian, veg for 40 years, long before you could actually get anything to eat in a restaurant that wasn't French fries or a bowl of pasta. And he could cook. And I think that when we looked at the landscape, what was available in vegetarian or vegan food, there were some up-and-coming restaurants. You could definitely have a meal somewhere that was vegan or vegetarian. But what you couldn't do was buy a center-of-the-plate protein to take home to your families. That was complicated. You needed 47 ingredients to make a chickpea chicken schnitzel, right? So that was the thing that we were solving. We were solving that problem of where to get that center-of-the-plate protein. And we were the first in North America to do that.
How you were convinced by the idea.
Oh, well, that took a lot of convincing. I'm sorry. Yeah, well, you know, I'm a naysayer. I kind of break everything down before I let you go fly with it. And when Michael actually did the courses and got like Top Chef accreditations, I knew that I couldn't stand in the way of this dream and had to get on board.
I see one more question, and we'll end it off there.
From somebody who looks like Toni.
Oh boy.
The twin.
So, remind me, how did we coach ourselves in those moments of dark basement cooking to create a new possibility? And how do you and Michael create new possibilities even now?
Okay, well then, when we were really in a totally depressed state most days, what really occurred for us was that every day people were walking into our store and saying, wow, what a great concept this is. We love you. We love that you're here. I have worked in retail a long time, and I'm telling you, this was the least hostile retail environment I had ever worked in. And it was that and the stories that they shared with us that really lifted our spirits daily and made us realize we were onto something. This was something that people wanted, and that actually propelled us forward. It was, how do we create this into something bigger and better for people? And in terms of now, you know, I give more credit to my husband than to myself. He has the power of reinvention. He is really all about, you know, what's next? How do I take what I've learned and apply it to the next thing? And for myself, I have to say that I've grown up in retail, I've grown up in service. I love that aspect of the business. I love creating relationships and rapport with people. And so I thrive on watching and coaching people your age in how to be amazing and exemplary at sales and building relationships that last a really long time. Thank you, guys.